I fell in love with the idea of making wines with old vines, you know? And I started looking for old vineyards and surfing around Tuscany and looking for the oldest vineyards I could find. And I started with vineyards that were around 30 years old, and now we have a lot of vineyards that are 80, 90 years old and more. And then slowly build up a collection of vineyards that are incredible. No? And I was in love with the old vines. I was in love with stony soils. You know, I was really fascinated by the stones and by all this kind of things. And this is a bit what it's still my drive in the in the winemaking. You know, I'm still, you know, I've always been in love with the hilltops. You know, so making wines like the vineyard you see here. It's the vineyard in Lamole, which is 650 meters high up. It's a small plot. It's exactly what you see here. It's 2,000 plants, you know, and it's 80 years old, and it gives amazing fruits that go straight into the Colore, and it's so every time there is old vines involved, I get the run. I want to go and see what it is and start playing with them, and we have an incredible amount of small plots of old vineyards that are in our cellar, and it's amazing, no? So I mean, I would say that my main runs are, you know, so vineyards in the hilltops, you know, high up in the mountains, and old vines, if possible, no, wherever I can. And so now we actually, you know, we have this. I mean, finally, you know, after, because we have a very unusual, let's say, winemaking concept for Italy and for, let's say, France, Italy, the old world, let's say, you know, so-called old world, because normally here it's very much based on, let's say, you have your estate in the best position and you try to get the best from your own soils and create, you work on very much like that normally, you know. So it's very much also based on big investments. You come in, you buy the estate, right, big vineyards. I mean, it's very driven by also the power of, let's say, financial work. No, instead, what I did was completely different, because I had this little cellar for 2 hectares, and I fell in love with the old vines. It was really hard to be able to buy these old vines because they were part of someone who really loved their own property. Otherwise, they were not there. And so I actually started doing all contracts, strange contracts all over Tuscany with these old vineyards. And so we never actually had our own lands. No? So we developed this concept. It's a bit more like a Californian or Australian concept now, which is exactly totally normal for you guys, but not at all for us. No, I mean, normally in Italy, when you buy grapes for your entry-level wines. No, you don't go and look for extraordinary pieces of land. You know, maybe drive 1 hour for 2,000 plants on the top of the mountains and do crazy things like that. No? So it happens that at the end it's an opportunity, because normally, because nobody's really working like that. We had this opportunity to go and find all these incredible vineyards and incredible pieces of land to work with. So we have a really, let's say, an incredible selection of incredible vineyards in our portfolio. No? And now, for the first time, after we bought the new winery in Fiesole, we happen. I mean, it's really hard also in Tuscany to really find exactly what you want, because not really easy, I would say. It took me 20 years to find my lands. So now, after 20 years, we bought this incredible beautiful winery in the center of Fiesole, so in the center of Florence. And right after, we got this incredible opportunity to buy 80 hectares. I mean, right in front of the winery or in the back of the winery.
Wow.
And that are at 500 meters high, so exactly where the kind of soils I love. And we started to plant our own vineyards for the first time. It was a really, really exciting moment, no? And a big change also of the whole structure, because it's kind of a total change of philosophy, you know, somehow. But you know, it's beautiful soils. It's soils that are, as I told you, 500 meters high up in the mountain, totally south-facing, a huge amphitheater of 80 hectares south-facing. You see the winery from there. You see the Dome of Florence in the distance. Really, really, it's a very, very, very special place. Huh? And also a very kind of, I would say, futuristic kind of land, because it's a land that is rich of stones, but it's also a rich land somehow. So it's a land that is going to have a good retaining of water. It's going to have a lot of structure, which is going to be good. I mean, times it seems like, you know, heat, global warming is kind of affecting also agriculture. So the fact that we are up in the mountain in a fresher area is going to allow us to make some really fantastic wines, and so we are really excited about that.
That's amazing. I hadn't heard about the new vineyard property that you purchased. So congratulations. That's amazing. Seeing what you've been able to do over the last 20 years with other people's property has been amazing. So I can only hardly wait to see what you can do with your own property. I want to speak about and focus mostly on the release of the 2019 vintage. So your 20th vintage, and you have a special packaging. So tell us a bit about the packaging, how you came up with the label, and a bit of detail about the 2019 vintage, because I know it's a special year.
Well, first of all, you know, we were kind of thinking, oh, shall we do something special for? I mean, we're kind of, you know, I'm very focused on the wine production and on the quality of the wines. That has always been my run and the main focus. So everything which is around is kind of not necessarily so important. And so we were wondering, should we do that? Should we do an anniversary thing? And so we actually did it. At the end, we decided to do it, and then when I did it and I released it, I really realized how important this thing here was for us. No?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a statement now when you first are there and you're doing something special for your 20 years anniversary, and 20 years that are totally dedicated to wine, to the wine world, and to this beautiful wine journey. No?
Yeah.
So it's fun to give a statement like that. No? It's really, and we wanted to do something that would make the difference, that would really leave a sign. No? So when I was at the beginning of the year, we were thinking still how to do, what to do, and at a certain point I was looking at this music festival, this Italian music festival, which is called the Festival di Sanremo, and I was watching at the show of this group of kids from Rome. They're called the Maneskin. You probably heard of them. Mm-hmm. They have been doing this huge world success. And I was looking at their dress. They had all like this kind of bit kind of rock and roll with pearls on top of their skins. And they had a dress. They looked like they were naked with all this pearls and things. It was really, a bit 70s kind of rock and roll kind of thing, and I was looking at it and I was like, wow, I would really love to have a label that is something like that. It's really what I thought. And looking at the show, and then we started, working on this label, and it came out something that somehow is reminding this thing here. And it's kind of, I like to say that these bottles are dressed for a party. They have all this kind of pearls, and also they're a bit of a fireplace, a firework.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a whole celebration thing, kind of. And but regarding for the packaging, which is going to be, one of the kind from next vintage, we're going to go back to our, let's say, natural packaging, and I say it's fun that the 2019 vintage comes in a very special moment, and because, let's say, my first 10 years of winemaking, I was very, let's say, I was convinced that the wines, the more, the better, which, so we were really doing a ridiculous amount of bottles per hectare. Now we were talking about let's say 2.5 tons of grapes per hectare, which means less than 2,000 bottles per hectare, practically. So we were really making the vineyard suffer in order to have a natural concentration in the vineyard, and this was really my run in that moment. And then from 2010, actually 2009 vintage, I realized that this people were not really necessarily interested in this kind of wine, but they were much more I think that the feeling was, I had this feeling that people actually just wanted to drink the wine, more than a performance by itself of the power. It should be something that you should just enjoy with the meal, and just think about more the drinkability and less power, less much to work more in a much more transparency, and I got struck by this thing here. And then from one year to another, I changed dramatically my whole process. So we started producing much more grapes per hectares, leaving the fruits and the plants work much more freely, and we kind of stopped pruning, so that, all the energy, we were not really working more on any kind of concentration. So before, we were all working towards concentration, and from 2009 and on, we have been working to go away from every kind of concentration, in a total different direction, and I would say opposite. And so the fun thing is that 2019 is a bit the result of this 10 years of work, because we got a vintage that was very generous, with even more grapes than normal. So here there is a little guest here.
Oh, hey, ciao.
I moved home because I didn't have enough sign down in the cellar.
Oh, no, it's okay. Is that your grandson?
It's my little one, my little boy.
Little one. Okay. The future owner.
Yeah, the future guy. Now he wants me to go up and play with him. Okay.
Of course. I get it. Just a little bit longer, not too much longer, I promise.
Yeah, well, listen, so this 2019 is very special because we had a very tough vintage in the 17s, which really made the vineyard struggle a lot. The whole, all Tuscany was really hit in 2017. Then 2018 was again a very nice production, but it still suffered a bit. So the vineyards produced like 20-30% less also in 2018. And then agriculture normally gives back what they cannot give 1 year. No? So in 2019, the production was huge. We had like the average production in, I just give you the vineyard of Lamole, normally produced 3 tons of grapes. In 2018, it produced 2 tons, so 30% less. No?
That's really
and instead, in 2019, it produced 4 tons, so the double of grapes.
wow.
So, and this happened all over Tuscany. All the production of 19 was huge because it kind of gave back what it didn't give in the 17th,
Right.
kind of. No? And so wines, fruits are bigger, more water into the grapes, more juice, more transparent, and much more drinkability and elegancy. So this elegancy that we have been working for and searching for 10 years, in 2019 is really a fantastic expression. No? So I would say a combination of things that are very special in the 19 vintage.
Well, the results are amazing, and the Colore, not that points are everything, but they certainly help. 99 points, 98 points from 2 of the top reviewers. So, and the same with Testamatta. So, it's interesting that it was a larger crop and a larger harvest, but then just the quality was so much higher. It's really remarkable how that worked.
Well, no, it's I think it's it's a bit our philosophy that is changing. You see, before it was very every year the first 10 years you could easily say what I remember once I was tasting with a guy in Israel doing a tasting, and the guy was a collector and he was tasting like 5-6 different vintages together, and he was asking me, what's the matter with you guys? Where are you? It's kind of all the vintages are completely different.
Yeah.
These wines are different. What's the story? He was asking me, and I say, listen, I don't know. I mean, they're just the way they are. Come on, don't.
Right.
And while I would say that maybe in the last years we have a much more, let's say, a much more clear line, where we want to go and what is our philosophy. We're really kind of trying to say something specific, with our wines, and our message, what we're trying to do and to give and deliver are wines that are really elegant, transparent, with the right acidity, the right structure, but fruits. Mainly delivered fruits, this beauty of the fruits and the transparency. These are kind of the runs, and you really feel it year after year now. Let's say the first vintage where we really managed to start going in this direction is maybe the 13, but the real one, the real, let's say, the one I really got really successful, I think it was the 15 vintage. After I decided from 2009 to get in this direction, 2015 is the real first, really elegant and transparent wine. And from there on, they have been constant in that direction there. And I really love these wines like that.
The wines are spectacular, and I think it's a good point that your wines reflect the terroir and the style of the vintage, and it's not the same thing every year. It's not bourbon, it's not Coca-Cola. It's it's something different every year, and it depends on the harvest to what you do with it. And I love this picture here. I saw a picture on your Instagram, I'll put up here in a moment, of you tasting through and putting together the 2020 vintage and all of the different bottles and plots. And how many plots how many different wines do you taste through just to make Colore or just to make Testamatta?
But listen, the thing is that what you see on the table is already, let's say, kind of it's a vineyard, no? Then mostly on each of this wine here, you have maybe 3 or 10 or 15 different barrels, no? So you must multiply this thing here for 6, 5, 6, no?
Right.
Because every barrel is at the end, also in the plot. Let's say you take the vineyard of Lamole, which is, maybe, I don't know, 10 barrels. Each barrel is different. It's crazy. So it's really, you have a multitude of different wines, that in the cellar. We have probably, above 300 different barrels, and every barrel is different, and then you have the big tanks, and every tank is different. So it's really incredible the amount of different wines we have to play with. When we are talking about Colore, the main vineyards are free, in terms of vineyards, but then you have all the different barrels, and type of vinifications, because we always do a small amount of new wood, but then we have woods that are 20 years old, then we have stainless steel, we have cement. So we have different, on every different plot we play and do different elements. And Testamatta, we have, I think, 9 different estates, vineyards, call it, different vineyards, but then within the vineyards again you have different shapes, different slopes, different type of soils, also in the same area, in the same. Let's say in Siena we have 15 hectares, in the vineyard in Siena, and every vineyard is completely different, so within Siena we have, which is one of the vineyards of Testamatta, we have 15 different wines.
Right.
So it's
incredibly complex.
Well, it's you can practically do what you want, because you can do wines that are completely different just by putting them together, and it's a bit like a painting, I like to say, because you can use a bit of a touch of this, a touch of that and it's really incredible because when you do a blend, also a big blend like Testamatta, I mean, one barrel of, one barrique, which is a tiny part of the blend, like 1% of the blend, changes dramatically the whole concept. It's like if you, I like to say, if you're whitewashing a house, and you put a drop of red into the white,
right,
you don't see, it's still white, but it's a complete different white. It's a complete different color. It can be warmer, it can be colder, it can be, and the same thing is with the wine. Just change 1% within your blend, and it changes completely the whole wine. So it's a beautiful work. I really love the work of the blending, and for me the 2 key moments for producing a wine are the harvest and the blending somehow,
Yeah.
This is where I put the most of my personal focus, because when you are in the vineyard, you really see with your eyes what you have, in your hands potentially, and so you can really know. I'm always together with the team, and I'm always together and checking every harvest. And you see a plot of vineyard that is maybe 3 hectares or 2 hectares, and then if you look at it and you see, hey, look at up there, look, the first 50 meters. Can you see it's a bit different? The leaves are different. I think it's interesting. Keep them separate, and everything is done like that. So the whole harvest, I'm there every morning, and during the whole, I'm moving around myself between all the vineyards and dividing plot by plot and try. So I think the vineyard, the harvest is really the moment where a winemaker really makes his own wine, because every person thinks and sees, in a different way, and you do something different. No, so there you really give your imprinting to first imprinting to the harvest, to the wine, and then obviously the blending. That is your taste, your flavor, you can really try to give, as I told you earlier, give a message. No, you want to do something in a special direction. No.
For sure. And I think it's really interesting that you're in the vineyards. There's so many wineries that I speak with, and it's separate. So you have a vineyard manager, and then you have a winemaker, and they talk to each other, but the winemaker isn't necessarily in the vineyard, but you're always in the vineyard, which I think makes a big difference in the final product because you see what's happening. And I think an interesting point is that you do multiple harvests. So you'll go through many times one vineyard. Isn't that right? That's what I've read, at least.
Well, it's exactly what I'm telling you. We do multiple vineyards within the same plot. I mean,
Right.
so we are, and because we are, I mean, we start, let's say, harvesting a part of the vineyard, and then we go there. No, this part here needs to wait. No, another week or 3 days or 2 weeks. So we actually go back in the vineyard and really pick the grapes in the moment we feel it's really right for that grape there, that specific plot there. So at the end, the vineyard is the harvest is lasting a couple of months. Because we at the beginning I was a bit more drastic. I was harvesting fast with a lot of people, like pushing it all at the limit, and then bam, go in and take all in. But now I realize that if I like much more to take it easy and start moving myself within all my vineyards and slowly get the work done, in a different way. Just get the plot by plot and divide the plots, and it's we also do. We even in this vineyard that you're seeing now, we do different there is only 2,000 plants, and we do multiple harvests inside this vineyard here.
Well, it's I like that flow. It's like a flow. It's like yoga. So the vineyard has a flow, and you have a flow, and you're kind of working together. So whatever you're doing, it's working. So.
Well, it's also, I mean, normally what we were talking about, normally you have, winemaker, and then you have the vineyard manager.
Right.
I have people that are dedicated to the vineyards, and I have people that are dedicated to the cellar. But because when I started in 2000, it was me,
right.
Only me. And I had only one guy helping me. We was driving the tractor, and because I never liked to drive tractors, and I'm not a real tractor guy.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, I mean, I can drive a tractor, I have no problem, but
right.
It's not something that I really enjoy, to sit on a tractor all day.
Right. Yeah, true. I get it.
I have much more fun to sit together with a team that is pruning or selecting the shoes. All the work on the green I really love,
right.
But to sit on a tractor is not my run. But because I had this experience where I've been doing everything by myself, although I have a team working with me now because we have quite a lot of vineyards, I still am really on. I'm kind of the connection between all the elements,
right?
Somehow.
Well, no, it definitely works, and you pull it together. And I respect the ability to, diversify and rethink things, and to look at things in a new way, which makes it exciting. It's something fresh and new, and whatever you're doing, like I said, it's working, because vintage after vintage, the wines are. It doesn't seem possible to improve, but somehow you do. Vintage over years. So.
Well,
anyway.
the thing is that we always try. I never. I always. I mean, I believe that there is no. There is nothing more to do than just try to do the best you can all the time. No, and that's what you need to do to make something that is modern, contemporary, that is actual. No, something that is you're saying something. No, somehow, and it's just you just need to do the good job, and it's always good whatever you do, no? Whatever you're doing, no?
For sure.
It's kind of
well,
a karma.
Bibi, I want to thank you for your time. Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to thank you for your time, but for those still with us, go out and search for the 2019 vintage. You'll see these distinctive labels. Get your hands on them. They are limited, and next year they'll be going back to the same classic label, which I also love. I've been selling those wines for 15 years, so I love the distinctive look and your artwork on the traditional labels as well. But go out and look for these 20th harvest, 20th year anniversary bottles from Bibi Graetz. And we're out of time, but Bibi, I just want to thank you again for everything and keep up the amazing work.
Thank you very much for your time. Ciao.
So for now, we'll sign off, everybody. We'll see you on the next live. Cheers, everyone. Have a great night, Bibi, and we'll see you all next time. Thank you so much.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.